Batman and Robin, Year 1, Issue 12, Mark Waid writing with CHRIS SAMNEE on the art. So, yeah, Robin saved Batman, end of last issue, which sets us up for this final chapter where they're chasing down Two-Face and Clayface. The Faces, you might call them. Or just call them Three-Face. Actually, Clayface is kind of infinite face because he can make any face. So
yeah, he's every face.
Yes, Two-Face in every face. There you go. That's the titles.
Oh, there you go.
So I mean, Batman does make some digs about how you snuck out of your foster parents' home. Like I should be chastising you for that. But then of course they're climbing down the building. And he just kind of looks over at Robin and he's got like a smirk in his face. So the art really kind of sells this idea of like him, the bond growing. So yeah, Two-Face and Clayface have got this big plan to like poison the water supply and like, turn all of Gotham City into clay monsters or whatever. And Two-Face is still questioning to the last second, okay, I need to flip for this. And Clayface is like, I carried all this shit out here and now you're deciding to flip the car. You could have done that first. So got a chuckle out of that. So
I love that he goes, you don't understand, scarring people is a choice. And Two-Face just goes, or Clayface goes, do tell. And I just felt the not cynicism, the sarcasm just seeping in those two words.
Yeah, so obviously this boils down to like Batman and Robin having a fight with them. Batman actually blows Clayface up. As I need to like collect them all before he reforms T-1000 style, and he bag all the separate parts of him. Whilst Robin's dealing with Two-Face, there's a whole thing because he's got like a hard disk that has like all the financial information and stuff that all of these clay like disguised people have collected.
Yeah, all of their information on everybody.
No, I was just trying to think of a word for like all of these duplicates that he had like infiltrate. Yeah. I couldn't think of a good word for it. Doppelklingers. Yes, whatever. Whatever. Yeah, there's a whole thing here, and there's a good bit where Two-Face pulls out a gun and Robin just grabs it out of his hand and kicks him and yells "no guns," and I'm like, oh, Batman's been teaching him well.
Yes.
I give me a chuckle in the best possible way. So there's a whole thing where Batman takes Robin back to the house, the family's house, and he's like, same time tomorrow, and Batman's like, no, like, you're supposed to be living here, but we made a good team, and I'm not going to give up trying to, like, win you back. And the thing is because all of the thing with Two-Face to, like, try and discredit Bruce Wayne is kind of now out in the open because he's been caught, it does kind of make Bruce look a lot better in the eyes of the system. So there's a whole thing here where the social services lady basically vouches for him and convinces the judge to give him guardianship of Dick.
And this judge does not like Bruce Wayne. It is clear.
He's like, no, I trust her opinion, and because of her opinion, I'm going to grant this in a 12-month probation period, and then we'll be re-examining. And Bruce tries to, like, what about full adoption? And she drags him out there. She's like, no, quit while you're ahead. We'll come back to that in a year. Come back to that in a year.
I mean, thank you. She goes better. Yeah, real good.
Yeah. So the whole big ending here is that Gordon admits to the press that Batman and Robin are the ones that took down Clayface and Two-Face, and admits that, some villains, these super criminals, are too much for the police to handle, and they need help. And that's when Batman and Robin will be called in. And he turns on the signal, and it shines onto a building, and we see Batman and Robin up there in the spotlight. And there's an interesting little bit here where Batman asked Dick, oh, is this what it feels like? Because this is closer to a circus performer than anything Batman does. And I like that because it's ending with this idea that Robin is influencing how Batman does things. It's not just Batman teaching Robin. Some of the showmanship that Dick has grown up with is rubbing off in the other direction as well. So it's quite nice.
Because Batman is now wearing the blue suit, right? It's got the blue cowl with the gray. It's not just all the dark as well. And then I feel like this is a famous cover. This is Samnee doing that version.
Yeah.
Of whatever that Batman and Robin cover is with them in the spotlight. So I thought that's a fun moment. And the fact that Gordon points out that, civilian consultants have been a long-standing police custom, this is what they are. They're civilian consultants. They're helping us. So I do like that they throw that in there because it's still, this is a year one story, right, for Batman and Robin. So it's still early.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll catch us Batman.
No, I like it. I like that this ends with this idea that Batman has learned something from Dick, just as equally as Dick has learned from Batman. And it's like, we have to have this a little bit more. And Dick even points out, like, are you worried that this will make the villains fear you less? And he's like, it means they'll underestimate us. And that's actually quite good too, because it means they won't expect us to become as hard, or that was a bad sense. Come at them with as much strength as we have, to put it in a different way.
Keep them off balance.
Yeah. So no, I like that, because part of like the whole adding Robin to the act in the first place was like, hey, he's bright, he's a distraction, he's colorful, and Batman's going to pop out of the shadows and nab whoever's looking at Robin. So this idea of this year one story building up to a place where they're acknowledging that there's a performant aspect to this, and using Dick Grayson's Robin as like, hey, he's the symbol of that. He's the symbol of adding the performance to this. I quite like. So no, all good. They jump in the bat plane to end the issue. The press try and yell things over to Batman and Robin, but other than Robin just saying that he's single to the ladies, which, given that he points out that he's 10 years old in this, makes it feel especially stupid that he says that, but that's fine, because he's 10 years old. He's allowed to be stupid.
Yes, he's a dumb 10-year-old. Yeah.
Yes.
And then him calling them the dynamic duo on the way out. I thought that was real fun too. Yep.
Ends with them flying off in the Batwing. So, no, I mean, it was great. It was actually a great year one story. It's been fantastic throughout. I do think it was smart for the last issue to focus mainly on how these two work together as a team and what impact they've had on each other, rather than like the villain story is basically already wrapped up. It basically boils just down to a chase and then fight, and that's fine, because I think the high point of the villain story was probably when Two-Face killed Grimraldi. That was like the high point where it was like, oh, that's shocking that they've killed him off, and we've been doing stuff since then, but it kind of feels like, no, it made more sense to me for the last issue of this, which is supposed to be about like this pair coming together and like solidifying the fact that Batman and Robin are now a thing going forward.
Yeah.
To focus on them kind of like, tying the knot, as it were. So yeah. Good stuff.
They pick up those loose ends. So Samnee does something really cool during the fight scene with Clayface and Batman when he hits him with the explosive and he explodes. The gutters, like the lines between, become clay from the bottom after the explosion. I thought that was a lot of fun. Like, it just shows, how it's gotten everywhere. And then there's just a small moment with Two-Face when Batman goes, oh, it's not a knife, it's dual compound explosive. Two-Face just looks over and goes, nice. Like, there's just it just gave me such a chuckle where he's like, two, and just through 12 issues of this, there's been a theme of duality, right? Between Matt Hagen and Grimaldi and Two-Face, Batman, Robin, all this, So to have that pop up here in the last issue with Two-Face going, two, it was real fun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Samnee's art is phenomenal throughout. It has been the entire book. It's, like the comedy of like Bruce getting custody, and that scene is delightful. The heartwarming moment of looking over at Robin when they're going down the building. The action's obviously very good. And then just how hopeful those last like 4 or 5 pages are, with all the, Gordon smelling as he's turning on the signal and showing that they've got Batman and Robin as a pair to rely on. There's kind of a definite kind of hopefulness to it, like a kind of, because it's obviously Batman more often than not probably dips into, oh, this is a darker superhero, and this is something where there's a need for Batman because things are so bad, and it's not necessarily a happy time. This definitely tips it into, no, there's a sense of hope, and maybe that's the idea, is that once you bring in Robin, you're bringing in something a little bit lighter, because Batman himself maybe needs something lighter inside his life, because he would have went too dark otherwise. So, and that's something that various Batman and Robin stories address over the years, is this idea of like him being saved by the existence of a Robin. So, no, very, very good. Obviously, it's been great throughout. I mean, is it the best issue of the book? Probably not, but like, not because it's in any way not a fitting ending, because like it's one of those books where this is a very consistent 12-issue story that is going to read phenomenal in that deluxe hardcover when it gets one, because it will get that deluxe hardcover. There is no question.
This issue very much as the denouement, right? Like after the big action,
Hmm.
it wraps up everything. So, which is good, which I felt like we needed, and it doesn't feel rushed. Like the scenes at the courthouse, like when it ended the Two-Face Clayface stuff real quick, I was like, well, what do we got left? And then we get to the courthouse, and then we get to the introduction of Batman and Robin by Gordon, and yeah, it's a very fitting end piece, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's gonna read really well in that 12 issue deluxe.
No, this will be something that'll be so easy to hand to someone. They've read year one, they've read Long Halloween. You say, "Here's Batman and Robin year one." Like, you know, that is what you'll slap in front of them for one of those first early stories next, and it'll be a good, easy to read thing for new people. I mean, the only possible thing that maybe you just have to warn them is like, hey, if you've heard of Clayface, this isn't that Clayface. This is a different Clayface. Right. That's like the only thing, but that's not such a bad thing, though.
Yeah. And maybe by the time the Clayface movie comes out, people will realize, right? You know, and there'll be some more buzz around Clayface.
That's true.
Cool.
That's true. And who knows, that may be the perfect time to put out a nice version of this, because hey, this is a Clayface story. They can say. So it's a whole thing. All right, what are you giving Batman and Robin year one, issue 12?
I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with that. It's so funny though, because like sometimes it's this idea of like rating the individual issue, right? But if you ask me to rate this series, which you can do when it's only a 6 or 12 issue thing, like this was probably like a 9.5. This book as a whole,
yeah.
Like, you know, as a whole, it's a 9.5. That's how I'd recommend it.
I'm sure if you averaged all of our scores for each of these, I'm sure it'd be really high, right? Like we're up on the higher end because there wasn't one bad issue of this book.